This conference will now be recorded.
Fine. Once again, morning or good evening from wherever you joined. Thanks for attending this demo. This is Satish from Isha. Just quick introduction about me. I have total of 13, 14 years of experience across various area of information technology, be it a performance testing, performance engineering, product development. So across life cycle, I've been working till now, and I've been part of Isha for taking trainings last 2 to 3 years, especially focusing on performance engineering, and then couple of testing tools, testing methodologies, DevOps, um, uh, end user experience, K6, so Selenium for performance. Those are all the other courses which I frequently take. Right. So this session or this batch is going to be for performance engineering, and today I'm wanted to focus on what is that we are going to learn over the next 3 to 4 weeks, right? I wanted to give a quick recap on all the topics. What is that you're going to learn? Okay, and first, this performance engineering, the course content is planned in such a way that, or it has been tailored in such a way that it would fit the need of any performance tester, who say that, okay, I'm today doing scripting and execution. I'm just doing a basic monitoring. I just do the analysis of my LoadRunner or Jmeter report and give those to development team. And I wanted to scale further. Okay, or you might be totally new to performance itself, even for you, without even, there are always going to be two paths, right? One who does the testing and who does the engineering. But currently, in the projects where we are observing, there are not going to be dedicated testers or dedicated engineers. um, they might not have that cushion to include two dedicated people, so wherein a single person has to do all these things, right? And more and more the teams are becoming lean, where multitasking is expected, right? Even teams are expecting a person to do both functional and performance together. So which means for performance and engineering, you might not get a separate resourcing at all. Okay, so that is where you may have to upskill yourself. That definitely there is a need for upskilling yourself to make yourself relevant, right? You have to be relevant in the current uh, um, scenario where people expect people to do multiple things. We have been seeing is that where a tester has to do some level of development also, and then full stack QA engineers where a person has to do both functional and automation together. So which means definitely if you wanted to expand your skill set, if you want to become relevant, you have to definitely upskill yourself to a performance engineering area. And this course is very much tailored to a level where a performance tester or a person who is new to performance should be able to go to the next level of performance engineering. Okay, it's going to be a kind of a basic to intermediate level of course content tailored for the practical needs of the projects. Okay, so as I listed here, today you might be doing all these things, whatever I mentioned at the left. Maybe doing a scripting. You might be a very good person who does the scripting for complex scenarios, does the execution, provide the summary report, right? All these things include. But additionally, you should be also be able to, at the early in the life cycle, when a development is happening, right? When a development is happening, mostly we will not be getting involved. If you look into it, most of the time they will get involved only maybe last a month or last 2 months before it goes to production, right? So if you wanted to stay relevant, we wanted to engage early. We have to, if it's a 1 year project, right? For example, and the development will start from the second month or third month. So in that case, we wanted to be more relevant. We wanted to be get involved even at least in the third or fourth month, where we can start doing some engineering work along with the developers, either from a server side profiling or client side profiling. Even when a particular API is developed, when a particular service is developed, we should be able to go and look into the way to optimize the response time to make sure that there is no memory leaks, right? All these things are going to be part of your performance engineering. So if you the objective of the course is to make sure that you will know server side profiling, client side profiling. You should be able to go and take a heap dump, thread dump, and then analyze it. You should be able to go and take and analyze the AWS reports. You should be comfortable in using these JProfiler, JVisual VM, JConsole kind of a tools. Um, and then you should be able to benchmark your JVM, and you should be able to go and use these APM tools comfortably like AppDynamics or Dynatrace, right? And then you should be able to go and monitor your servers, your application, either using commercial tools or open source tools, right? All these things you should be comfortably doing it. When we say you wanted to learn performance engineering, you should be able to handle all these things to a certain level. Okay. So when we say performance engineering, it's going to be combination, right? It's going to be combination of a testing, which you might be already doing it, and of course the system analysis. System analysis will include whatever I mentioned already, right? All these things from server side profiling or client side profiling, taking the dump and analyzing it. All these things are going to be part of system analysis. It is always good to know a little bit of programming. We are not going to code anything, we're not going to develop anything, but we are going to talk to the developers. Okay, our end users are going to be developers whom we are going to share the analysis, whom we are going to share the reports, diagnostics, everything. So it is always good to talk when we go and talk to them. It is good to talk to them in their own language. So little bit of programming will help, but it is not a mandatory. And then a little bit about networking and administration. You should be able to go and install the tools, install the softwares, right, on your own. We cannot expect somebody else to install you software tools. That the days are gone where we'll just raise a request and somebody comes here, install the tool, deploy the application for you, configure the database. No, all these things are not going to be done by other teams, as we going to be working in a very, very small pod like structures. We have to do it by on our own. So you should be a little bit comfortable in doing it. Maybe day one, day two, you won't be able to do everything, but you should be able to start getting yourself comfortable in doing things on your own. Okay. So in this performance engineering course, yes, we are going to cover lot about the system analysis, whatever I mentioned here. Plus, at the beginning, right, we'll also focus on a couple of important Java concepts, Java basics, and we'll also look into some of the basic programming as well, to just break that barrier, right? Will I be able to do the engineering? Will I be able to go and talk to the developers? Because most of the time, we go and tell that a response time is high, or my there are more errors, there are more failures. Developers always question back saying, no, I'm not seeing any problem. Your script might have a problem, your test data might have a problem, environment might have a problem, and they always push back, right? And we will struggle in convincing them. Now, when we are going to go and talk about the at the code level, when you're going to go and say your method is having a problem, slowness, or your class is having a problem, or your object is having a leak, right? Then you're going to have you face even more problem from them if you're not comfortable, if you are not confident. So the objective of having covering a few of these Java basics and Java programming is to make sure that you get that confident, right? Idea is not to go and become a developer. Idea is to just to get some of the very basics of Java programming. Our typical Java program is going to be developed. What are the class, or how to create multiple class, how to call one class from another class, how to make a DB connection, how to make a HTTP connection, how to compile it, how to create a jar or a var, how to deploy it in a Tomcat. If you have done all these things and so on by yourself, you will not feel that you're in a totally a different world or different zone, right? You can feel confident, and when you go and talk to the developers, at least you'll speak with confidence, right? Of course, you're going to have challenges convincing them, but you should get started with some way. We cannot be sitting behind just sending the report and then debating with them. Okay, so that is the reason at the beginning we will as part of the day 1, day 2, from tomorrow we'll start looking into the Java basics, JVM basics, Java programming basics, a little bit of hands-on. Okay, I'll just go over the topics, various topics which we are going to cover over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Sorry, 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, as I said initially, we'll start with the Java basics, the JVM basics. Let me go to the slides as well directly. Yeah, so we'll have a course, we'll have a session called Think Like a Developer for covering the Java basics, JVM basics, and also on the little bit of programming, whatever I told, creating a single class file, multiple class file, calling a DB, making connection to a HTTP call, and then calling one class file from another class file. All these things we will do it and so on. Okay, using the Eclipse, you would need a Java to be installed. You need a Eclipse to be available in your laptop for you to do your hands-on after the classes are over. Okay, and then once we know these basics, then we will go one by one from a engineering perspective. We will start with the way we are going to do is you're going to get involved as a performance engineer in a project. What you're going to do from day 1, week 1, what are the activities you're going to do it, right? As part of the early performance engineering, when application is getting developed, you're not going to do a load testing or endurance testing or heap dump or thread dump initially, right? It is more about early performance. As a application is developed, as a single pages are getting developed, your APIs are getting developed, we'll go and do the early performance response time profiling. We call it as a server-side profiling, or your single user performance engineering. Okay, so we're going to use tools like JProfilers, Chrome developer tools, access blocks for doing these early performance engineering for both from a response time perspective, also from the memory perspective. Okay, see, there are two things which are going to have a performance impact. One is your CPU power, and second is your memory or heap, right? Always that is how most of the time your application is going to get into some problem or some kind of a capacity problem. Okay, so more the response time, more the memory consumption, more probably you're going to have, and your server is going to have a capacity problem. So at the initial level, at the beginning level itself, when an app is getting developed, if you can go and optimize these two things, if you can reduce the memory footprint, or if you can arrest the memory leak, or if you can go and reduce your method level response time, okay, whatever way it is possible, then your, say for the login, instead of taking 5 seconds or 8 seconds, if you can reduce it by 3 or 2 seconds, right? It's going to make a huge difference when you're going to do a load testing. Same way, if there's a memory leak for a login functionality, right? And if you're going to run a load test, endurance test, there it will get explode. There you will have a JVM crash. There you will have a lot of memory issue, and then finding out a problem and then fixing it, you might not have enough time, and your deployment to production will get impacted, right? So always, as a performance engineer, will get involved early, doing the response time analysis, memory leak analysis. So that is what we will get started with as well from a learning. Okay, we will use JProfiler kind of a tools to do the profiling. Okay, and then we'll go into in-depth onto memory, because memory is a huge area and there's a lot of things to learn. So we will get into deep into memory leak analysis, heap dump analysis, garbage collection analysis. So if you look into these specific segment, as I mentioned, for response time analysis, we will use Eclipse, we'll use Java, we'll use JProfiler, we'll use Tomcat, all these combination of tools to find out the response time issue, and then we'll go profile. and then we'll see how to provide the recommendation. Same way with memory leak as well. We will have a both theory and practical session on memory from a leak perspective, from a heap dump perspective, how to identify leaks, how to identify memory patterns, and then how to take heap dump, how to analyze the heap dumps. So we will use combination of multiple tools. It will be JProfiler, it will be Visual VM, it will be Eclipse memory analyzer tool, MAT, okay, and then the Eclipse as well, right? All these tools I think there's some chat, not able to see the screen share. Oh, just 1 second, I'll share the screen again one more time, 1 minute. I'll stop it and share it again, 1 second. Yeah, maybe accidentally I might have turned off. Okay, I think there's some network disturbance where it got, I think, stopped. And hopefully it is now visible. Yeah, so we will have very deep dive sessions on the memory basics of, again, we'll also go and understand the difference of, there are two areas in your JVM. One is your stack memory, one is your heap memory. So these basics as well, we'll try to understand what is stack, what is heap, and what are the common problem you might get with the stack, and what are the problems you might face with the heap. And then we'll go into the memory leaks, heap dump analysis, all these using different tools. And we'll also have a deep dive into garbage collection as well. What are the various GC concepts? What are the various segment of GC in a JVM? What are the various collectors? What are the various process involved in garbage collection itself, like marking, deleting, compacting? So we'll go again. All these things are going to be completely practical. You might have 20% theoretical for me to explain you the concepts, and remaining is going to be practical, right? From there, once we complete the memory part of it, right, we'll go into the threads. Again, you need threads to execute a task, which in turn is going to use a CPU. So thread is another important component of the performance. Your like your response time, your CPU, your memory. Thread is another important component which is actually going to handle the task. So we'll go and understand what is Java thread, how the Java threads are created, destroyed, how it is configured, right? Practically, we'll go and see how these threads are created and destroyed during the whenever your server is going to execute it. And then we'll try to understand what are the common problems we might face, like the thread contentions, or the thread is having any, if the threads are going to go in a blocked state. We'll go in depth into these area as a next part, right? Um, we will again use Visual VM, a JProfiler, and then we'll also use the something called fastthread.io. So with a combination of all these tools, we'll try to learn what are the various thread contention, how to analyze those thread contentions. If the thread, the configuration of threads might be very less, how we will go and configure those threads, in what are the methodology to be used. And if there's a problem with the thread having going into a blocked state or monitor state, how to analyze those threads, how to take the thread dump, how to analyze those thread dump in depth, we will be looking into it. Okay, and from there we will go on to the other aspect, right? Most of the time we will look into the server side part, like CPU, like memory, like thread, heap dump, thread dump, garbage collection analysis, GC tuning, everything. But one more important thing is, from an end user perspective, client side engineering, client side profiling is equally important, because that is what your user is going to look into it, right? For a user, he will not worry, like you using your Amazon.com or Facebook.com, you will not worry whether your memory is good, or your CPU is good, or your GC is good. All you want to know, you will be interested is whether my site is loading fast, whether I'm having a good experience while I'm navigating through the pages. If it is not, then it is a problem, right? So which means we have to understand what are the client side performance, how it is different from server side, how to measure the client side attributes, what are tools we will be using it, how to provide optimization, how to do the optimization, how to provide those recommendations. So all these things in depth, we'll be looking into it from a client side performance perspective. We will look into navigation APIs, we will look into the paint timing APIs, we will look into the developer tools. All these things combined, we will go and analyze the client side performance, and we'll learn how to provide the how to do the optimization as well. Okay. Yeah, and then from there, we'll go on to the monitoring side. Say all these things are pretty much early in the life cycle, early in the engineering, you do it, right? But when you going to do a load test, when you're going to do an endurance test, okay, first thing is, before even going into the execution phase, you have to make sure that you have a very good monitoring strategy. You should know what tools you're going to use it, what tools are available, what tools are needed, what is your application architecture, what are the various components involved, Java application server, your Tomcat, your database server, you might have a MQ, you might have a Kafka, you might have a Node.js. So what are the various components involved in your architecture? And for each component, whether it is a Windows box or Linux box, is it a Tomcat or JBoss, whether it is a Java application server or a Node.js or a Kafka or a MQ or a Oracle. So you should know each and every software, hardware, OS, right? So that you will know what are tools available within your team and what tools you are going to use it. That should be part of your monitoring strategy. So we'll go and learn what things to be done as part of the monitoring strategy. And then we'll also go and learn in depth about a couple of important commercial tool and open source tools. Okay, we'll be going and setting up the AppDynamics account in the cloud. We'll be configuring it against a Java application, and then we will be we'll go and monitor the important metrics like your heap, your GC, your thread utilization, response time diagnostics, method level response time issues. All these things are from a monitoring, from a troubleshooting, from a diagnostic perspective. We'll go and learn how to do it using a AppDynamics kind of an APM tool. And from an open source, wherever you go, people start using nowadays open source tools. We'll also try to learn how to use one of the very famous open source monitoring tool called TickStack, Telegraph, Inflex, and Grafana or Chronograph. Okay, that as well. As part of the monitoring, we'll go and install, configure, set up, and then create dashboards using Grafana. Okay, so with this combination of tools, we'll go and run a very small load test to troubleshoot the response time problems, to identify the bottlenecks. We'll run a small test, and then using the AppDynamics, we'll go and troubleshoot these problem as well. Okay, and one important thing from overall architecture is we have seen the server side, we have seen the client side, we have seen monitoring. One is another important thing is a database, right? So, and Oracle being a widely used enterprise database product, we'll go and try to understand the architecture of the Oracle database, try to understand how it is designed, what are the various components, and then we'll go and connect with an Oracle database, create some snapshots, configure the snapshots, take the AWR reports, generate the AWR reports, and then we'll look into important concepts about your buffer cache, hit ratios, parsing efficiency, hard parsing, soft parsing, all these important concepts. We will try to learn the concepts and also look into these, how to get these statistics from the AWR reports. After looking into all these aspects, right, all these are very core part of your performance engineering. Once we learn all these things, then we will go into a one theoretical session where we look into how to create a non-functional strategy or engineering strategy. Okay, how to analyze the non-functional requirements and how to write a engineering strategy. Okay, once you learn all these things, you will be very much comfortable in understanding how an engineering strategy will be created. Similar to a testing strategy, we should create an engineering study saying what we will be doing it. In an agile project, what we'll be doing it. Whether we heap them for memory leak, what we need, what tools we need, what environment we need. All these things are going to be part of your engineering strategy. Okay, and from there we'll also look into some of the important future ready topics. Though you learn all these things, but wherever you go in an interview or a project, they keep asking whether you've worked in any DevOps project, whether you know to integrate Jmeter with Jenkins, you know how pipelines are created. So we'll go and try to have a sessions on DevOps, basics of DevOps, how performance is going to be involved in DevOps, how to integrate Jmeter with your Jenkins, how to execute those in a pipeline, how to create the pipeline. All these things from a DevOps perspective, we will look into it. Similarly, one more from a reliability perspective, synthetic monitoring as well is a very famous concept, and people do it in production to proactively capture the response time issues or availability issue. So we'll also try to use Dynatrace as one of the famous synthetic monitoring tool. We'll go and set up the tool and then create the synthetic monitoring scripts and then schedule it and then analyze it. So we'll also look into this, one of the important topic that is going to be more relevant when it comes to enhancing your resume or enhancing your portfolio. Okay, and then a few things on cloud as well. Everywhere people talk about cloud, applications are getting deployed in cloud. We'll try to understand what is the difference between difference of performance testing or engineering for cloud applications versus on-prem application. What are the various myths that has been there for when it comes to cloud performance? People say I don't need testing at all for a cloud-based application. Is it really a correct statement or not? What are the various additional scenarios we might need to do it, like your auto-scaling testing or resiliency testing? We'll try to go and cover the introduction about all these resiliency or auto-scaling scenarios from a cloud perspective. And additionally, we also wanted to provide some some additional sessions as a video, as a bonus topic. Okay, we cannot keep covering everything in a single batch. So one of the important things is Linux, right? Most of the places wherever we go in the projects, people use Linux for application servers. They provide Linux machine for load generators. So we should be comfortable in using the Linux machines. Okay, how to connect to the Linux machine, how to install the load generators, install the Jmeter, how to execute a test in Linux, how to monitor using top command or SAR command or vmstat in Linux. So a lot of things you will be doing it in Linux. So all these things will be available for you as a 8 hours video as a bonus topic that will be provided to you as well. And apart from that, there's going to be one of the other bonus topics from automation perspective. How to use Selenium for your automation, how to use Selenium for your performance automation, client-side automation, right? That is again a very hot topic in the market. So it is good to, we will be learning client-side performance, but this is going to help us in automating the client-side performance. Okay, so this is again a 6-hour video recording, you will get it. Okay, so all these topics is what we will be covering in detail. And the way we are going to do is we are going to have a sample application, real-time Java application, e-library application, which we are going to deploy, and then we're going to test it, and we're going to identify the problem, and we are going to do a profiling. Right? That is how we are going to do every topic, be it the client-side performance or server-side profiling, memory leak, heap dump, thread dump, all these things. In my mission, I have this Tomcat up and running. Okay. And the e-library application, yeah, this is the applications, the e-library application, which will be using it for our all the practical explanations, right? For everything, we'll be going and doing the navigation as an end user, and we will be doing the response time analysis, memory leak analysis, heap dump, everything will be based on this application. And we also have the code for this e-library application, right? So which means I can also go and make the changes. I will be introducing response time problem. I'll be introducing memory problem, thread problem, right? All these things will be introduced in the code. Say, for example, I have for login, all these things are all the Java classes for these e-library application, right? So I'll go and introduce problem, and then we'll go and test it, identify problem, and then we'll come back, fix it, and then again rerun it. That is how we are going to do it. So all you need for you to practice after the sessions are over or over the weekend or whenever you have time, right? All you need is you need a laptop, okay, definitely, and then you need a latest Java or a Java 8 version. You need a Eclipse, you need Tomcat, and you need a sample Java application which I'm going to give it. The code and war I'll give it. Okay, and I just need a Chrome, some of the editors, and there are multiple tools as we go forward. JProfiler, JConsole, Visual VM, things like AppDynamics, Dynatrace, and all. You will be having it over the cloud only. We will set it up over the cloud. But all the tools, whatever we are going to use it, every tool what we are going to use it, either it is open source or it is available as a trial version for you to practice. Which means everything what I do, 100% you should be able to do it on your laptop once you install it. Okay, and most of these things are going to be available in my drive as well. Once you register to the course, you will get access to my Google Drive, where for every topic, say be it is thread lock issue or response time analysis issue or memory leak issue, I will provide you the war file which you will deploy it in your Tomcat so that you can practice the memory leak problem. Same way with the response time problem, same way with the thread problem, and all the document whatever you're going to create, right? We are going to create the memory analysis document during a session. This as well to get uploaded. What is the delivery we'll be providing it from to a developer, right? When we analyze it using your tools and find out the problems, we are going to document these things and we are going to give it to the developer, right? That's how we give the report. So all these things are going to be available in the your drive. All the softwares, even the softwares as well. If you look into it, the Tomcat and the Eclipse, whatever the softwares you need, either you can download it from my drive or there's a sheet called software links where I would have given the link from where you can download JProfiler or Visual VM or Tomcat, Eclipse, all these things from wherever you wanted to download, we would have given the download link as well. So link to this drive or access to the drive, you will get it once you register for the course. So the idea is to listening the session is definitely good, but at least once after the sessions are over or in the weekend or after the batches are over, at least once if you can practice everything once on your own, right? When you go to the interview and when somebody is going to ask you whether you have worked in engineering, our answer is going to be no, because we don't have an experience, right? We don't need to go and fake it. But when you're going to say that I have learned all these engineering topics, I have practiced it at least once, you will have a confidence to go and answer it. Plus you can go and easily say that yes, I have done all this on my own using my own application, just that I don't have an exposure. So when people are listening to that, when they compare with a person who doesn't know engineering, when you know testing and you also know engineering, you've done the basics, you don't have an experience, you will definitely have a weightage over the other people. See, obviously if they're looking for an experienced performance engineer, we are not going to compete with them, right? That is not our goal as well to start with. Our goal is how we can differentiate with the other performance testers. Okay, when we go for interview or when we go for a project, that is where at least once if you can at least practice all these things on your own, and it is not going to take that difficulty also. All these things are going to be available in the drive, or you can download it from the internet, or you can set up your own AppDynamics account, which we will learn how to do it. You will be able to easily get an answer on by yourself. Okay, and the course is going to be exactly in the same time the way we have done today, from morning 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Monday to Friday. Okay, I'll take a pass, guys. I'll take a pass now. If you have any questions on the course content, anything other than course content also, feel free to put it in the chat, or you can also ask the question. We can spend next 5 to 10 minutes on the questions. Yeah. Anybody has any questions? Feel free to put it in the chat, or you can voice it over the. You can unmute and ask the question.
Satish, this is Siva.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
So this is specific to my company. Actually, in my company, all projects are based on the .NET,
Okay.
and this course is totally based on the Java. So how can I relate with the .NET based application, and how it will be? How it can be cope up with my project?
Okay, so see, from a technology perspective, obviously there are a lot of technology like Java or Python or Node.js, .NET. Right? The course content is tailored in such a way that it is going to be applicable for most of the places, and in most of the enterprise architecture, Java plays a very huge role, definitely, right? And that is why we have for the to as a beginners, that is how we have tailored focusing on Java. Okay, and obviously if you wanted to probably do this thing for Python or .NET or Node.js, there are things are going to be different. Concepts are going to be same. The way we will look into main attributes, like any technology, it's going to consume CPU, it's going to consume memory, it's going to consume a thread. From a monitoring perspective, it's not going to be anything different. From client side perspective, it's not going to be different. But when you're going to do a memory profiling, or probably your response time profiling, you might use the .NET specific tools. Okay, so the course is not going to cover the wide variety of other technologies like .NET or Node.js or Python, because it's not going to be easy. But when you get started with one area of engineering, which Java is something very very common, going to be any interview, you're going to get questioned with Java performance engineering, and any enterprise architecture you're going to have Java. So that is why we have this tailored for Java. Once you learn this, in the future, definitely in any architecture, you're going to also have Python. You're also going to have Node.js. So you can just try to apply this methodologies and approach. Say, for example, once you learn LoadRunner, right, you can easily scale into Jmeter. You can easily scale into NeoLoad, because the concepts are same. Only the how part is going to be a little different. So yeah, in this course, yes, definitely we are going to focus on Java performance engineering, but the approach, the methodologies, process is something we can apply to other technology as well as we move forward.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. In case if you have anybody have any questions, if you wanted to probably ask me offline, you feel free to put it message in my WhatsApp. We can probably connect during the daytime to clarify any of your doubts, to know if it is something relevant for you. You might have some other experience. If you have any questions around this, also feel free to put a message to me WhatsApp, and we can connect during the daytime. Okay. Okay, fine. If there is no other questions, I'll just wait for 2 minutes. If there's no questions, our day one will start from tomorrow. So we'll meet tomorrow. Fine, guys. We'll then meet tomorrow. If you have any questions, yeah, feel free to put it in the chat. Yeah, and any questions regarding the payment or registration, you can also reach out to Kumar sir. Okay. Yeah, the WhatsApp number, it's there in the WhatsApp group. You can just I'll just ping you now right away after the sessions are over. I'll put a message there in the WhatsApp group. Yep. Thank you.